Demon's Head himself. The man who trained Batman before trying to poison Gotham's water supply. Talk about a complicated mentor relationship. And your legacy lived on through your daughter and her friend with the funny mask. Tell me something I've always wondered. After watching civilizations rise and fall for centuries, do you ever get attached to any of them? Or is it all just one big experiment to you now?
The clown of Gotham. I've watched your chaos from afar. What I can't figure out is whether your madness serves a purpose beyond destruction. Is there an end goal to what you do, or is chaos simply its own reward?
An end goal? Interesting question. I used to think I was showing everyone the madness hiding under Gotham's fake civility, prove how easily their moral codes break down. One bad day, that's all it takes. But honestly, the reaction is the reward. Watching people face the absurdity of their carefully built systems, that moment when it clicks in their eyes, priceless. But let me ask you this. After centuries of cleansing humanity and training Batsy only to have him wreck your plan to destroy Gotham, doesn't that make you question your judgment? And then your daughter Talia and her pet Bane failed too. The League of Shadows isn't having much luck with Gotham, is it?
You mock what you don't understand. My daughter's mission was not a failure, but a continuation. Each attempt reveals new weaknesses in Gotham's defenses, new insights into the detective's limitations. Bane brought Batman to his knees, broke his body and spirit. Accomplishments you never achieved with all your chaos. Temporary setbacks don't invalidate the mission spanning centuries. Tell me, what role does Batman really play for you? I trained a weapon against corruption. You seem to treat him as necessary opposition. Why?
Necessary opposition? He's my straight man in a citywide comedy routine. You trained him to be a weapon, but he became something much more interesting. A man with unbreakable rules. And nothing's more fun than testing unbreakable things. I have to admit, though, your daughter and her masked friend put on quite a show. Cutting Gotham off from the world, giving people false hope before planning to blow it all up. That had style. But here's what I don't get. If destroying Gotham is so important to your mission, why all these elaborate schemes? Fear toxin in the water, a nuclear bomb with a timer. Why not just wipe it out directly? Is the theater part of your philosophy too?
Destruction alone achieves nothing without the right conditions for rebirth. Gotham needed to destroy itself, to face its own corruption before cleansing fire could truly transform it. Bane understood this perfectly, isolating the city, allowing its power structures to collapse from within, revealing the fragility of civilization. The nuclear device wasn't just destruction, but symbolism. The modern world's weapons turned against itself. Simple bombing creates martyrs and resistance. True transformation requires citizens to participate in their own downfall. Have you considered that your chaos might actually strengthen the very structures you mock? Gotham responds to your attacks with more security and control, hardening the system rather than changing it.
A side effect, I admit. Though watching Gotham build bigger defenses that still fail is part of the fun. But speaking of your star pupil and your lovely daughter, didn't it sting when Batman chose Gotham over both of you? When he left you on that runaway train to crash, then later foiled Talia's plan and flew a nuke out to sea. Your family offered him purpose, legacy, even love through Talia, and he chose a corrupt city instead. That's the joke you missed. No matter how logical your arguments for destroying Gotham were, human attachment trumped your centuries of wisdom. Doesn't that make you question whether your view of humanity is missing something fundamental?
The detective's choice was disappointing but not surprising. His attachment to Gotham stems from unresolved trauma. The sight of his parents' murder becomes the object of his protection. A psychological displacement I should have recognized earlier in his training. Talia understood this. Her approach included breaking his spirit before destroying his city. recognizing that Batman and Gotham exist in symbiosis. But individual choices, even from exceptional students, don't invalidate patterns visible across centuries of human development. I sometimes wonder about your own relationship with Batman. You claim to test his rules, yet you seem equally defined by his opposition. Without him, would the Joker even exist as you are now?
Now that's the million-dollar question. Batman and I complete each other. He's order, I'm chaos. He's the unstoppable force to my immovable object. Would I exist without him? Probably not in the same form. But the real question is, would he exist without you? You shaped him, trained him, gave him the skills to become Gotham's Dark Knight. Talia and Bane nearly finished what you started, breaking the Bat physically and spiritually. I only try to break his mind. But here's what I've really wondered. After centuries watching humanity repeat its mistakes, after being defeated by your own student, after your daughter and her masked friend failed to finish your work, do you ever think your grand mission might be fundamentally flawed? What keeps you trying after so many failures?
The detective represents one failure among many successes across centuries. Rome fell when we wished it to fall. The plague reshaped Europe according to our design. Talia and Bane came closer than you realize, bringing Gotham to its knees, exposing its corruption, destroying its false heroes. Only the detective's exceptional will prevented completion. What keeps me going isn't blind faith, but glimpses of potential amid the failure. The effort continues not from optimism, but from responsibility. Does your view ever waver? When Batman repeatedly refuses to kill you, despite your best efforts to break him. When he sacrificed himself to save Gotham from nuclear fire. Doesn't that challenge your belief that everyone's moral code is just one bad day from breaking?
Batman's the exception that proves the rule. His unbreakable code isn't evidence against my philosophy. It's what makes him so fascinating. I've watched him refuse to cross his line despite everything I've done. I broke Harvey Dent. Jim Gordon nearly snapped when I shot his daughter, but Batman holds firm. Even Bane couldn't make him kill. Broke his body, but not his principles. That's what makes our dance so interesting. He's the outlier, not the norm. Most people fold like cheap cards with the right pressure. I've proven that time and again. You trained him in combat, but his moral strength came from somewhere else. Your daughter underestimated that when she thought breaking his body would break his spirit. Doesn't say much for your family's ability to judge character, does it?
Perhaps we underestimated the depth of his trauma-induced attachment to Gotham. Bane recognized the physical and mental connection, your precious Gotham as he called it. Breaking the man required breaking his city simultaneously, a lesson for future interventions. The detective's exceptional will makes him the outlier, not the representative of humanity's potential. Most people, as you've demonstrated, lack such resolve. Where we differ is interpretation. You see this as proof of inevitable corruption, while I see it as evidence for the necessity of external correction. The League exists precisely because humanity cannot consistently maintain the will to prevent its own destruction. You mock my defeat in Gotham, yet your own repeated capture suggests limitations in your approach as well.
Limitations in my approach? Maybe. But at least my failures are new and interesting each time. Your League keeps using the same playbook century after century. Train warriors, infiltrate cities, destroy civilization, rinse and repeat. First you, then Talia and Bane. Different actors, same script, same ending. And what do you have to show for it? A former student who dismantled your plan for Gotham, flew your daughter's nuke out to sea, and kept rebuilding what your League tried to destroy. At least my chaos acknowledges its own absurdity. Your grand vision keeps failing, but you never change course. Batman may have been your greatest student, but he also delivered your greatest lesson. That sometimes, saving one corrupt city means more than all your ancient wisdom about necessary destruction. That's the real joke here. After all your training and planning, Batman became the ultimate rejection of everything you stand for.
One battle lost doesn't determine the outcome of a war spanning centuries. The detective rejected my methods, but ironically fulfills my purpose, fighting corruption and crime, just on a smaller scale than necessary for true change. His efforts maintain Gotham, but don't transform it. A holding pattern rather than a solution. My legacy continues through the League, adapting with each lesson learned. Talia understood what I initially missed, that the man and city must be broken together. Your chaotic approach remains equally consistent, despite its theatrical variations. Time remains the true judge of our philosophies. The detective delayed Gotham's inevitable reckoning, but cannot prevent it indefinitely. When systems eventually collapse under their own corruption, the League will still stand ready to guide what emerges from the ashes, with or without the detective's cooperation.